We're now going to be touring Dan and leaving our bus there. Beside the Dan.
Keep moving. What is that? Actually now, on the walk through the Dan Reserve, we're going to come to the fountainhead itself, where it comes right up out of the ground. So you'll see the source of the actual source of the Dan.
Ooh, boy, that looks like swimming pool water.
Oh,
Dan River behind him, I'll be glad to do it.
Oh, that's beautiful, isn't it?
This is coming from the spring, which we're going to see further up.
Like this most of the year.
Oh my goodness.
It's spring water.
Isn't that
That's
wonderful?
Spring.
Yeah, that is a spring, isn't it? Oh, that's wonderful. So that's coming down from the snows of Herman, right?
Yeah, but through the rock. It actually
Right.
comes out of the rock.
Right, through the rock, under the aquifers that are
There's no little
beneath.
springs everywhere, and just the main spring somewhere.
There's 4 main ones. There's these 3 perennials. Banias, that was one of them. This is another one.
Right.
And there's another one.
Thaddeus, Philippi, and Dan. Is that what he said?
Now, there's the Banias Spring, that's Philippi, and then the Dan Spring, and the other one I can't remember the name, ever remember the name of. And then there's an annual one that flows with the rainfall.
Okay.
Like this area.
Those are the four main ones.
Wow.
And they form 4 channels going into the Sea of Galilee. So the Jordan River has 4.
I think what he's asking
4
is
tributaries.
like around it, like is it just
Right
coming
here.
out
Is
of
it just
the
coming out
ground?
of one spot in the rock, or is it coming out of the ground?
No, it's coming out of one spot. But it kind of spreads out over the area.
Right. Yeah, sort of like an upper delta, but in reverse.
But you can imagine why they built a city up here, have a water source like
Oh,
that.
sure. Oh, yeah, you could make electricity up there.
Yeah.
That's probably what they do, isn't it? With that kind of volume, you'd have to capitalize on it as much as was legal, I guess. Woo,
Oops, sorry.
look at that. That's okay.
What do you think about it?
We are taking our time negotiating the rock that crosses the one of the streams. And there's Carl entering the water, just like the sign says, "Do not enter the water." Go, Carl.
Go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Steven. Yep.
Billy, when you wear your hat kind of shields it a little bit. If you wear this hat, I mean the other one like this.
Yeah.
Like this, a little more.
Is this not cool or what? Look at that. Look at these roots. Watch your step. Watch your step. Watch your step. Do not enter the water.
Watch your head.
Watch your head. Thank you. I need a head cam. Look on what kind of... I guess you could drink this water without it hurting you. Great weather, wonderful. Even the water that the rain they've been waiting on for a long time. What are you doing, recording a video? You really don't have to, because I've got the video camera going here. You should be just taking still pictures. Yeah, you can take as many of those as you want. Besides, they don't take up as much memory, and they download from the camera to the computer real fast, whereas the video is a bigger file, and it takes seemingly forever. River continues to run to our left. Look how clear that water is. Look how clear the water is. Woo. Large open space here. Opens out. Sinkhole exit. Don't smile.
Nice and peaceful in there.
What? Oh yeah. More rocks. Somebody did a lot of work just making a trail of rocks. Water coming out from under here. Fig trees. You got a fig tree. Isn't that beautiful? Oh my goodness, just lush ground and foliage. Absolutely incredible. The figs up here must have been plucked off and harvested already, but they're bound to have been extraordinary.
Der nicht wadeln im Rad der Gottlosen. Noch tritt auf Weg, noch nicht.
German group.
Paradise. We were here, right?
Finally got here.
This marks to the long trail.
Nice pool.
Quiet waters by. Isn't there a hymn? Part of a hymn?
Lord my shepherd, I shall not want. Now look at the redness of those rocks. That must be iron oxide that comes off of those rocks. Yeah. Oh, you didn't? I could have put it in this backpack. We just have. No. No. Well, I tried to make it on mine, but you got to have internet connection. Yes, I knew that. That's really why I made the connection online to get it.
Is an old name for down. It's known as Laish in the Bible, Lasha, and Leshem. Here the name of Leshem in Genesis is recorded.
So Leshem presents 10.
Beautiful. Yeah, I'm okay. I know. Stay out the water. We got. I'm gonna step over.
Well, the very beginning of it. This is one of the sources of the River George. Remember, there are four. You've seen the one at Banyas, coming out of the gate of hell. This is the second one, near Tel Dan. There's one coming from Lebanon, the Hashbani. And then near Metula, there's another smaller source which doesn't flow all year round. But the thing is, once you see it coming, the water just comes up out of the ground. It's just amazing. There's run of water when the snow melts from Mount Hermon, but also a lot of water penetrates the mountain and comes up out of the ground. It's such a picture of life, which in Bible class and in Sunday school we use whiteboards, blackboards, with maps and all that.
But the land of Israel, I believe, has been designed by God as a teaching aid. And the greatest teaching aid is the River Jordan. As I said, it means the descender in Hebrew. And here you saw the vitality of the river very soon after we left Banyas, when we came to the park. There's another branch here, it's not going so fast yet. We all come out of the ground, as it were. And when we're young, we are fast running. Although people say I'm still running too fast on these rocks, but anyway. But then you come down to the Sea of Galilee, where Jesus did most of his signs, and most of his teaching was done in around the Sea of Galilee, because it represents a more mature stage in life. That's how I look upon it. Yes? But then you can follow the River Jordan, meandering down to the Dead Sea, and that is where we all end up. So it's a picture of the beginning of life here, full of vitality, but also a place to make up your mind, like Jesus asked the question in Caesarea Philippi. Because later on during the trip, when you leave Israel, you cross the River Jordan again. It's just a muddy old stream there, and you go to Beit Abara, or called Bethany beyond Jordan, where John the Baptist baptized. And why was Jesus baptized in Beit Abara? John 1:28. Because Beit Abara means the place of crossing. That's where Joshua crossed the land, across the River Jordan, the river of death. How was the water stopped? The ark that was carried on the priest's shoulder first dipped the feet in water, and the water stopped flowing. Because there was an earthquake 25 kilometers higher up, which cut off the River Jordan, cast a bank right across it, and it happened many times. The last time in 1927, it takes between 12 to 16 hours for the water to start flowing again. Enough time to cross that river of death and enter into the promised land. So we don't have to end up in the Dead Sea. If we follow the ark, Christ, remember we said there must be a space of 2,000 cubits in between the ark and the people. Well, Christ the first one that crossed the river of death, almost 2,000 years ago. We have to soon be able to follow him, crossing this river of death. That's actually what it is. It's a river of life, but it ends in death. If you follow the ark, if you follow Christ, then we can enter into the promised land. There's no greater teaching aid, I believe, in the land of Israel than this river, the descender, which doesn't necessarily end up in death. If you follow Christ, you can enter into the promised land. Now, what a beautiful type is that. But as we hope that Christ will come back, or maybe in our lifetime, we are now in that last camp. We're preparing ourselves to enter the promised land. We still got the Baal Peor and all the attractions of the world. It's no different from Caesarea Philippi. So make up your mind, like Jesus asked you to do, and then we can enter into the promised land. And there's no more beautiful type in the whole land of Israel. I understand why Jesus was preaching in the boat.
Trailblazing.
Hey, John. What are you doing? Oh, how'd you get over there? Did the water dry up someplace and you crossed over on dry land?
Over the top of the temple. But I wouldn't want to do it again, that'd be bragging.
Yeah. Once is for the glory of God, the second is for yours. Woo. Okay, boys and girls, at this point we'll all gather together and translate over to the source head of the Nile River. Show you the contrast between the Nile and the Jordan. Bing! Oh, they do have a wading pool. Dane, how's Dennis doing? Yeah, okay. He needs to give himself a little rest and maybe. Oh, look at that. That's amazing. What kind of tree is this? An oak.
That goes really good down.
Isn't that amazing?
We've done our checking.
Yeah.
It's like this, though. Are you all here?
No.
I believe we are. I believe we are, Elaine.
Now this can be a contest. Who's got the biggest wide-angle lens if you can get this tree in one shot?
How about a stick?
I got an 11mm. I can just manage to get it in if you stand at the far end. Huge pistachio tree, but it's a fantastic lookout.
Yes.
You know what we're looking at? Well, this is the valley that goes down to the Sea of Galilee. Sea of Galilee is right ahead of us. These are the mountains of Israel. You see the mountain with the trees on the top. There's Kibbutz Miskavam. I lived there for a half a year. There's the border with Lebanon. So the next hilltop is all barren, a few houses. That's Lebanon.
The higher one?
Can't see
The
it.
point is in Israel, and right above it, you see a tree that's the last kibbutz in Israel. Right to the point. The mountain gets down, and then you put the ground mountain, that's Lebanon.
That's Lebanon where it dips down.
So this all happens on the coast. It's all specific. Because if you're in a city here living, you need food to grow. Yes, so all these lands would have belonged to this city, Dan. There are only two major cities. That is Hazor, Hatzor, and Dan. I think between them they separated the whole valley. When Abram came in the land, and his Lot said there's no land enough for our flock.
That's right.
Oh my goodness, plenty of land there. But the cities at that time were called city-states. And they controlled large areas of land. So you couldn't graze on their land. So the land that was left, that was not sufficient for the flocks of Abram and Lot to make a living on. Yeah, so you got to think in terms of city-states when we talk about cities in the time of Abraham. And therefore you can understand why the Danites came here, because Laish was this city here. There was such a lush area, that's why it's called Laish, lush. See? It's a very beautiful area. Those are the Golan Heights, as you can see there. And the city is actually just in front of us, when you walk through the trail there. And behind us you can't see, because of the tree, you can see the high peak of Mount Hermon. So remember, we are in Naphtali country here. There's the Golan Heights, and then beyond the Golan is Bashan, and you go to Damascus. So this side is also an important trade route. From Damascus, you come in over here, over Mount Hermon. You can either go down to the Sea of Galilee, or over the mountains to Tyre and Sidon. So it's on an important trade route. East-west, Damascus here to Tyre, and northwest from Lebanon all the way to Israel. When Abram came in the land, because his servant was Eliezer of Damascus, he came in over Damascus, so most likely he walked along the southern area, southern part of Mount Hermon, and descended here into the land. Although there's another route that brings you out near the Sea of Galilee. But he was told by God to walk the land from the north to the south. Oh, this is the northern end of it. The land of Israel is described as from Dan to Beersheba. So this is the northern limit of now occupied Israel, and Beersheba is the southern end of it, although the border goes a bit further south. So if you understand then the language from Dan to Beersheba, well, you can't go further north here because you're in Lebanon. Yeah? And so it's just a fantastically beautiful area. You can understand why the Danites came here, such a beautiful fertile area. And why have all the idol worship here? Because it almost calls out for a hedonistic lifestyle, doesn't it? And so you've got to have a very strong mind to stay away from places like this. And because all the holy places in the Bible, starting at Shechem, Shiloh, Jerusalem, Bethlehem, Heaven, are all on the top of the central mountain range, far away from the trade routes. There's no lush areas like this, there's hardly any water, but it creates a more stronger lifestyle. When Abram and Lot were in Ai, Lot looked east, he saw the whole fertile plain of the Jordan, where you'd be going to. He was attracted by this kind of lifestyle. He thought perhaps he could convert the people of Sodom, but his family got converted. He lost his wife, his daughters were corrupt, and he lost his sons-in-law. So you can think about all the implications, what kind of lifestyle do we live. Now, this is all the area of Naphtali, remember? All the way down to the Sea of Galilee. Beyond the mountains, we have, well, just beyond that high peak is a place called Kadesh Naphtali. It's one of the cities of refuge. And then you get Zebulun beyond there, and then Asher going down to the top. So we talk about Asor, go to Tabor, the configuration of Naphtali, Zebulun and Issachar. Those three tribes came together. And there's some important reasons why. Okay, so now the walk on this trail is now, we've done the hard bit, but I want to give you a feeling of walking through a jungle. It's got everything. Got the jungle, you can ski on top of Mount Hermon, and you can scuba dive in the inside the Red Sea. Of the oak tree. That's called an alon in Hebrew. When Abram came in the land, he went to Alon Moreh. It's translated as the plain of Moreh, but it's not. Alon is a tree. It's the tree, the oak tree of the Moreh. And Moreh is a teacher. I used to teach Hebrew in Adelaide. They call me Moreh. That's the land Moriah, the mountain of teaching. So Abram was at the plain or the oak of Moreh, sitting under the oak, and he was the great teacher. Yes? But the other trees as well, the almond trees and all sorts of trees. There's a laurel tree with a long leaves. Oh, this is the biggest pistachio tree in the land. It's one of the biggest.
You want me to hold up the traffic?